Awesome. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome the internet to another featured artist interview brought to you by Radnaut Prince. I am joined today by Savanah, better known as Savvy L Art. Welcome, Savanah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us. We definitely appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I guess we'll jump right into it. Savanah is one of the first artists that hooked up with the Radnaut team, and I'm going to show a couple of things that she's done here because they're magnificent and fantastic and super detailed, and some of my favorite artwork. So let me jump into. So first question is, where do you find your inspiration?
I listen to a lot of music. Music has been in my life for a really long time.
Yeah.
There is no genre I don't listen to, but for a lot of art, I listen to instrumental music.
Cool.
So like piano music, and it's all from video games. So I guess it's kind of like video games are also an inspiration.
That's very cool.
Like Final Fantasy X music. I love Final Fantasy X music.
Awesome.
But like just the piano, and some movies are inspirational, like I love the Studio Ghibli movies. Those are amazing. And
yes.
I just like inspirational shows like that where it really sucks you in. And I also have some pretty crazy dreams. So a lot of stuff comes from those as well.
Very cool. I love that. So is Final Fantasy X your favorite game? Or your favorite Final Fantasy?
Oh yeah, definitely favorite Final Fantasy, but not favorite game, I would say. No. But it has a big influence in my life because of the music.
Which I think is awesome when it can transcend. It's not just a game you liked to play. It's a music soundtrack that you like to listen to and that sort of thing. That's very cool. Awesome. What is your favorite game of all time, if you can think of it off the top of your head?
Oh man.
That might be a hard question to ask.
Probably Zelda or Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or even Zelda Breath of the Wild was pretty good.
That is a great game. But Ocarina of Time is just like,
again, the music was
timeless.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. But just Zelda, Legend of Zelda in general, like I don't think I've seen a really bad game that comes from that studio specifically. They were trying to do the Link's. What was Legend of Zelda 2? Or it wasn't even Legend of Zelda. It was from another game.
Link to the Past.
It wasn't Link to the Past. It was something like Link's Adventures or something like that. Okay. And it was real bad, and it came from like a different studio entirely.
Oh, did it? Okay, so it was kind of like
it was somebody trying to
version almost.
It seemed like they were trying, and it wasn't good. And
okay.
Then that was the problem. So they ended up going back like that wasn't it. That didn't hit the right way. And then Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, and all those came out, and I was like, this is right. This is where everybody should belong. This is the right place. But all right. So the next question I have is, what has been your favorite way of connecting with your audience through social media? Like, do you prefer Instagram over any others, or do you have a preference?
My preference would probably be Facebook.
Okay.
I've had a lot of success through Facebook because of the Facebook groups.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. Like my avatar, the Last Airbender piece, I shared that amongst a whole bunch of avatar groups.
Yeah.
And because of that, it really blew up. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try and make something new here coming up. Once I have some time.
Is it going to be avatar themed, or is it just something? Oh, fancy! Yep. I'm excited.
Yep.
We're
It
keeping
was
an eye out.
because of that one. It was heavily requested that I make you've seen the show, right?
I have seen both.
Yeah.
Both
Legend of
series.
Korra, yeah. It was heavily requested that I make the scene where Aang and Zuko learn firebending from the dragon.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
So that was what I was working on before we found the kitten I told you about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, does the kitten get to hang out still, or are you still are you thinking of rehoming the kitten?
Oh no, he's ours.
He's gonna be yours. Yay.
Oh yeah. He's out there trying to get in this room
right now because he thinks it's his room.
Oh yeah, and he can't be anywhere from 5 feet away from me.
Aw, kittens.
Yeah.
Little precious kittens. All right, next question is, who or what has been your biggest influence of getting into art?
For getting into art, that would be my family. My mom, when I was younger, she was heavily, well, I think it was kind of because she was a smoker, but because she doesn't do it anymore, and it was before the internet as well. But she would draw a lot, and what she would draw, like we still have it in our, my dad's kept it all, and she would draw these amazing trees and detailed crazy patterns, and so a lot of my detailed stuff is inspired from her. And then my dad, he can draw probably anything you ask him to, and he's pretty humble about it, and so he's like, he won't say he's good, but he's he's a sign painter, so he'll paint signs for the business he works for, and they're a pretty popular business, and they've asked him to paint all their signs for them. And
that's pretty cool.
He's an amazing artist. So when I was growing up, art was a big, I all throughout school, I took every art class I could.
Oh, that's awesome. Very integral to your upbringing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I love that. That seems to be a common thread with a lot of artists. Like, art has always been in their life to some degree. And I love that. That's such a, like, to me, it's just like, oh, home. Yeah. Everybody gets to come home. That's so sweet.
So art's definitely a way of going home.
I definitely agree. All right, next question. I wrote this one out thinking about it because I noticed that you tend to use black ink a lot, at least for the initial part, and then you can add a bunch of awesome colors to it. But if you had the ability, or if you had only the option to use one color for a piece, what would you use other than black?
That was probably a tie between purple or green. I love those colors a lot, but I do like blue. I love making space, and purple and blue are those main colors.
Yeah.
But purple is my favorite color for sure.
Awesome. Well, I also agree, but teal, I don't know if you can tell, teal is my
teal
color. If I had to, it would have been a blue green, like a deeper teal. I tend to use teal, and then it turns into almost turquoise, and then seafoam green, and it's like,
oh yeah, there's so many nice gradients of it.
Gradient all the way up to mint green.
I love the dark turquoise.
It's one of my favorite. It's such a, like, because that reminds me of space. Even I don't even know if it's really
that's a color I add all the time. That deep dark turquoise. It's just so beautiful.
I love that too. In fact, we're making the space on this video. I'm gonna make it blue just for the all right. Next question is, what is your favorite Studio Ghibli movie, and why is it Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah, my husband laughed at that question. Well, I mean, Howl's Moving Castle is definitely my favorite, but Spirited Away is a good one. we've been watching them at night before bed, trying to get through them because my friend shared his HBO with us.
Ooh, so you got all kinds of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, they have all their movies on there. And Howl's Moving Castle is probably my favorite because it's just the story it tells. It's about a woman who doesn't expect it to ever happen to her. You know what I mean? It's a love story that sweeps her away, but even though it's also a curse to her.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice story. And
I thought it was a very interesting story because it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like it came from a retelling of another story that we already know of, at least in Western culture. So it was new and interesting and a whole new spin. So I agree. I
hope to one day read the book
that it came from. Yes, me too.
And I think there's even like a second one too.
Oh, that's exciting. Ooh, I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna put the video or put the book right here. Here. All right, next question. This is my favorite because I like animals, but what has been the most challenging animal that you've drawn, either in the things that you've released or even things that you're, that you try and work on in the past?
I'm really nervous about drawing cats. I would say they're my favorite animal. And so I want to do them justice. You know what I mean? So traditionally, a cat sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Because of all the details in their hair. I have a commission coming up that wants me to do a black cat in my style. And I just, trying to think of how to do the details with the black cat.
Right.
It's just,
how do
I do that? But I guess I'll figure it out somehow.
I look forward to seeing that. If you end up releasing that after you do the commission, I'm excited. I do think
show it.
Darker fur, really any furry creature is always, it seems like, man, that's going to be a lot that you have to do because you have to make sure that the hair looks right.
Yeah.
Not just do every single one, but do every single one in a way that it looks not like a bunch
hair,
of scratches.
not
exactly.
A bunch of white lines or on black background or
right. I definitely understand. I've been trying to illustrate a book about my dog for the last 5 or 7 years. It's been a long time, and I've drawn her several times, and every time I'm like, that looks good, and then I come to it a couple months later, I'm like, I hate it, we got to redraw it because I just want it to be. You can't look
at it for that long.
I just want it to be. I want it to be good, and I wanted to do her justice so that forever and ever it's going to be like, that's the dog. That's really for real. And doing realistic animals is even harder because you want to get their energy.
Their essence, exactly. That's why the owl would probably be, that one was tough.
Oh yeah.
And that one was from my grandma. So I wanted to make sure that one was extra special as well. And it actually looked like an owl.
We're putting the owl up on the screen right now just so everybody can see it, because I loved the detail that you put into the owl as well as the octopus, and I'll put that one up too. Oh my gosh, I just love looking at all the bits, the little just getting drawn into it forever.
Thank you very much. I used to draw like that a lot when I was younger. And it kind of faded away with learning how to paint, because I didn't use a lot of color in the beginning. I was nervous, and every time I added color, I always thought it made it worse. And
I understand where you're coming from. I'm sure it looked fine, but I know exactly what you mean because I tried to do that before. Ink drawings and then adding color to ink drawings.
Yeah,
it makes me feel bad about my things that I made.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like that Howl's Moving Castle piece, I made that line art, and then I didn't color it for like a year.
Oh, wow.
I was so nervous about coloring it because it was so special to me, and I was so proud of that line art. And it was just, I don't really made I haven't really made landscapes. That's something that I'm trying to expand on. And so that was a landscape piece, and
it's so good. I think you did so great with that. We're putting it up on the screen. It's gonna be up. Put them all up on the screen. We're putting it back up on the screen because I was probably going to put it up during the Howl's Moving Castle question. Yeah, I loved the amount of detail that you put into any of your artwork. It's probably some of my favorite to just keep staring at. In fact, if you have a TikTok, I think you have a TikTok, yes?
I do, yes, yeah.
Put a TikTok, because I watch videos of yours on Instagram, but I think it's the ones that you've taken from TikTok and you put on Instagram. So
exactly.
Here's.
Oh, wow. I just noticed they were also, oh, wow.
Here. And then I'm on Tessa's. And then
yep. Mine's eye.
I love this one.
Thank you.
It's staring at all of your stuff. And oh my gosh, that raven or crow, raven?
Raven, yeah.
That's what I thought. The raven. Oh my gosh.
I think I have only this one on here right now.
It's a good one though. Did you do metallic or the holographic?
Yeah, I did. I love holographic. And I think the mariachi sunrise was my favorite because of all the little flowers. They just reflect.
We're putting it up. Wait, putting it up on the screen. I'm keeping track. Yeah, I really, pretty much any art ever is great, but just looking at art that has so much detail put into it, and you can really feel the love that you put into the pieces that you've created. It's very, like, it makes you feel things. It makes you feel all the things. And
thank you so much.
I really like art that does that.
I love detailed art so much.
And that brings me to my next question. What made you want to start using ink, either from way back when, or if you're more recent into ink? Like, what has been the thing that drew you to that before anything else?
So when I was in high school, they had a whole bunch of art supplies that they offered to us, but it was always a fight to get the good stuff. And I then discovered that they had acrylic inks, and they have the same, and it's the same stuff I use today. And I never had to fight anybody over it because nobody really understood how to use it. And so I just learned how to use it myself, and it was just so pigmented. I just fell in love with it. It was, and I just,
beautiful.
I've used it probably for now 10 to 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a long time. And of course, that's a reason that your stuff looks so good, because you really have known how to mold it into the creations that you've created.
Thank you so much.
I definitely understand that. That's interesting that people didn't want to try their hand at.
Eventually they did, because I started using it so much. And my
they
art
realized.
teacher at the time was also my boyfriend's mom. So she always put my art up on the wall, on the front wall. And so when people were like, oh my gosh, where'd you get those colors from? I couldn't be like, I'm not going to tell you.
I hid them and you can't find them.
And yeah, so eventually they started using them. But
well, that's actually really cool that you were able to use them in such a way that it influenced others. It inspired others to use it as well. That's pretty cool. Influencing from way back.
It always excites me when I find other artists that use that stuff and use it similar to how I use it, because a lot of people don't just use it for like everything. A lot of people use it for line art only, or whatever, or just making little pieces of,
or
just we'll get a gold one just to add some gold flecks or whatever to their art.
All right, we've reached the middle of the questions, which means we got to switch over to a would you rather session.
Ooh.
And we'll would you rather. So I'm going to give you 4 different ones, and we wrote a whole bunch. The first one I want to do is specific to you because I know how much you like these 2 things.
Okay.
Would you rather live in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender as a non-human creature, or live in the Miyazaki universe from Studio Ghibli movies as a non-human creature? And what creature would you choose from either?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a hard question. Probably Miyazaki.
Okay.
Yeah. And then something like a spirit of
You'd
some
be-
sort, like a lake spirit or something like Haku,
Oh, a lake spirit.
or like a mountain spirit. Something awesome. You get a good view all the time.
Yes, I love that. That makes me happy. Now, do you think of it as like the spirit of the forest from Princess Mononoke, or are you thinking of, okay,
Oh yeah, something cool like that.
fancy schmancy? We're gonna find some things to throw up on the screen here. A spirit of some kind from there. Cool. Okay. Since it's just gone out, we'll ask you the same question because I think it's a hilarious question. Would you rather be a reverse centaur or a reverse merperson?
A reverse centaur or a reverse person. So like
Merperson.
fish on top.
Yes. Or horse on top.
Probably horse.
Wow, okay. Not
They're
everybody's
cuter.
been horses are
They're not
cuter.
slimy.
Not the one I drew. The one I
No.
drew is real weird looking.
Well, I guess, yeah, they probably would be weird looking.
And I realized when I was looking up reverse centaurs, because a lot of people have apparently decided to draw this, it's either too many limbs or not enough limbs.
Oh my goodness.
And it
People
doesn't
have a
look
hard
good.
time drawing horses anyway, and now they're drawing them reverse centaur.
Because I saw somebody draw it where it was a full horse's front body, but then also a human's entire body, like torso down. So you have 4, oh no, you have 6 limbs total, and it was too many. I didn't like it. Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan of it. But then if you just cut it to where it's like BoJack Horseman, where it's just a human with a horse head, I don't know that that's the same, because that's almost like a minotaur. And we just looked it up, or I just had it told to me, a centaur or a minotaur type creature, but with a horse head, is called, what is it even called? Ipotane. Ipotane. Ipotane.
Ipotane.
I've never looked. I was trying to look it up, and every time I looked for human body horse head, Google is like, "Are you talking about a centaur?" I'm like, "No, I'm not talking about a centaur." Google, get with the picture, you guys. Anyways, okay. Next question. Silliness. Speaking of mythological creatures, would you rather be a gorgon like Medusa, but instead of snakes for hair, you had tentacles for hair, or you had bird heads for hair? Like, just which would you rather?
Oh my goodness, the birds would be annoying.
It would be annoying, but you wouldn't have to deal with bird poop because it's just their heads and necks.
But you have to deal with them screaming in your face, though.
It's possible. It's very possible.
Oh man, the tentacles would be slimy.
Tentacles would be slimy and like suctioning to you in places all over your head. So I don't know if that would be much better. It'd be a different kind of annoying, but a quieter annoying. Tentacles annoy you. Birds annoy everybody.
Yeah, so maybe tentacles, I guess. Maybe you could put them up in a big slimy bun.
A great, yes, an updo via tentacles. And you don't
Make
even
them
have to have
stick together.
yeah, they'll stick to each other. You don't even have to have a scrunchie. Also, I don't think the tentacles would appreciate a scrunchie. They'd probably
No. Yeah.
they'd be done with it. Okay, so you'd rather have tentacle hair. These are ridiculous. I love them. Okay, last question. Last question for you was the first question I asked Montessa. Would you rather only be able to swim in the ocean, but there are definitely sharks and or jellyfish in the area, or only be able to swim in a pool that might have a poo in it?
Oh my God.
It's not good. Neither are fun.
Oh my God.
You have to choose.
I mean, you didn't say the sharks were hungry.
No, they're just hanging out.
They're just hanging out.
They're just hanging out.
So probably the ocean.
Okay.
And the jellyfish are fine. I mean, I lived on an island.
Oh yeah.
I've seen jellyfish.
Fun. Yeah, I'm always like concerned about jellyfish. More
Yeah.
like Portuguese men of war. Those are not jellyfish. I don't know what they are. They're jellyfish.
Those are aliens.
They are absolutely aliens. Put up a picture. Show the picture. I don't like this thing. It is absolutely a spaghetti monster, but with evil intent. I don't like it. Not a fan. I don't like it. And there's a fish that just hangs out with it and like brushes up against its scales and is like, I'm fine. We're fine. Don't touch it too long.
Don't touch it too long.
Don't like it. Not a fan of it. Scary. All right. We'll get back to answering the other more important questions. These are pretty important questions. You've done the world a good service today by letting us know.
Yes.
All right.
I don't want birds for hair.
No birds for hair.
No.
Swimming only in the ocean.
Hey, I have tentacles for hair at that point. So
tentacles for hair, swim only in the ocean. So if this jellyfish do come near you, just tentacle and then away. Keep them away. It's great. So getting back to the other questions, what is a medium that you wish you could use more?
Probably regular acrylic paint. I got a set from Michael's when it was on like super sale, and it was like the little what are they called? Right there, Liquitex.
Oh, Liquitex.
They're the little Liquitex basics or whatever. And they're small tubes, so like if you're an acrylic painter, they're not going to be enough for you, but like I was just trying to like just dabble into it, and basically I got almost halfway through a painting, but I realized I have too many cats for that. Like there was just cat hair, like I'm used to cat hair normally, and I'm able to pick it off, but with acrylic it just stuck to it and instantly dried. And then I was googling about acrylics, and it's like they dry the fastest out of any paint. And we live in the desert.
Not great. No, you have to either use that there's a dampener like that allows you to extend the life of your acrylics. It almost turns it into an oil paint, but at that point you can just use oil paint and not have to mix anything extra.
And so I basically put it away exactly because I wanted that to get that stuff to make it last longer. And I was like, when I am able to lock my cats out of this room.
When you can be in a clean kind of environment. Something that I had noticed about that is I've got a long-haired dog. She's precious, but like you can tell that we have a dog. Doesn't matter what room we're in. Hair everywhere. So sticking
I don't
to
think
anything.
the climate helps.
No. And she, especially because there's so much of it and her body wants to get rid of all that hair, and so then it pushes it out more, and I'm like, I don't have a vacuum cleaner strong enough for all this hair. It will break. It will absolutely break. This is my favorite question that has nothing to do with art. What superpower would you have and why, of any of the superpowers?
probably a tie between flying and shape-shifting.
Yes, either of those is fun. But you can
Yeah,
shapeshift into something that flies.
yeah, exactly. So probably shape-shifting then, because then you can fly.
You can just turn into a
Bird.
or even an insect and just
Yeah. Hopefully not get eaten by a bird though.
right. Turn into a falcon.
Yeah, exactly.
The
A big
raptor of
giant
all birds.
eagle.
Yeah. Some giant bird that no other birds would come around and mess with. I think that's a good call. Ooh, let's get deep with this one. What is the best piece of advice you've ever heard or been given?
Probably from a friend in Washington. We were basically regulars at the store she worked at, and she became a friend of ours. And she actually started asking me for weekly commissions,
Oh, cool.
and she was a really nice supporter. And I'd make her like $100 pieces, and she
That's
basically wanted all the art to represent her in her house. So she'd be like, I want your tree of life painting, but I want it to look like me. So basically I just remade my tree of life painting, but made it look like her. You know what I
Cool.
mean? And she wanted me to make a portrait of her. And so basically her advice was to find my worth, because when she asked me how much I would charge her, I was just like, I don't know, it's I do it for fun. I do it for a relaxing thing. I don't know.
Right.
I have never thought about selling it at that time.
Yeah.
And she was just like, well, you know what? I'll give you $100 for every one you make for me. You know what I
That's
mean?
pretty cool.
And that was really nice of her. And
Yeah.
she told me to find my worth and to make sure that I wasn't giving my art away for free.
That is very, very poignant stuff, because I think that is something that a lot of artists struggle with when they don't necessarily have like a marketing background or some way to be able to like say, this piece took me this long and used this many things and means this much to me. And so that plus that plus that plus that times 20 or something like that. Or, add an additional $100 onto it and say, that's how much I think this giant piece or something is worth. Not having that background, I think, is a big struggle for a lot of artists. So artists, find your worth.
Yep.
I like that idea a lot. All right. Next question. Ooh, it sounds like you have traveled. So what has been the most inspirational place for you ever in the world?
Probably home, which would be Vancouver Island.
Ooh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had mentioned that you're from Canada originally. I'm like, we're in Canada. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So basically it's British Columbia. So like all the forests and we used to do a lot of hiking and a lot of mountain biking.
Ooh,
And
that's cool.
where I lived, we used to live near a river, and it was it was a creek, but it was a big creek. You know what I mean? You could sit in it and cool off in the summertime. And
cool.
It was like a little secret getaway, and it was just across the street from my house. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Growing up with that in your front yard, basically, that seems to be a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Well, cool. All right, everybody, Vancouver on the map. Rocking it. That's just north of Washington, right?
Yep.
In
I
that
used to live in
area?
Everett, Washington, and it was about
cool.
it was only a 2-hour ferry ride. So same thing as from Vancouver Island to Vancouver. It's only a 2-hour ferry ride.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool indeed. Than that.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful up there. We've driven the coastline from Washington to California.
Oh yeah.
And it was really beautiful there. And we've also driven the mountains instead of the coastline. So there's a different road that's more like private and
Yeah.
crazy. And it's
A lot of switchbacks. So you're going like,
you're like, where are we? Are we ever gonna find anywhere?
a little scary, kind of cool, but you know, spotty cell service is scary these days because if you break down, what do? You just live there now? That's just where you live? I don't know.
And we did not have good cell service then.
Oh, no. Oh man, gotta travel with a satellite phone. That's the only thing I can think of because cell service is it's dependent on sight of the cell tower. And if there's a lot of ups and downs and like trees in the way, then it doesn't matter how good the service is going to get. Trees is still in the way. There's still mountains and trees all over the place. Yeah, you got to travel with satellite phone. Short. I guess you'd have to get a license in order for one of those like CB radios. That's the only other thing. Gotta have a license for CB radio. And favorite question of all time. What is a book, a movie, and an album that you would always recommend?
So my favorite book of all time is probably Inkheart. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book before. They made a really bad movie about it, but that's usually the case. But it had Brendan Fraser in it.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about this. Okay, so we're gonna put not the movie, but the book cover on the thing, and then we'll maybe show the movie. I like Brendan Fraser. I'm not mad at Brendan Fraser for choosing the movie. I'm just
actually, the book was dedicated to him, so that's why he was in the movie. It was really sweet. The writer actually had thoughts in her mind that he would play who he plays. So
well, that is sweet. Well, then okay, then I guess we'll give it a pass.
Yeah,
not great, but the heart.
It was just
you said Inkheart, like INK.
Yep.
Okay. We will look.
And there's like 2 more afterwards that I don't want to say because I don't quite remember their names.
That's all right. We'll throw them all up there. The whole thing. Okay. What about movie?
Movie. I would recommend probably either Spirited Away if you haven't seen it, or Princess Mononoke, but that one's a little more violent. So
it is.
If you don't like violence, I wouldn't say to watch Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, Princess Mononoke was the first Miyazaki film, the first Studio Ghibli film I had ever seen, and I had no idea what we were about to watch. So watching it, I feel like I was in my teens, maybe early teens when I first saw it. I was like, how did nobody tell me about these things before?
Yeah.
I think go on
Spirited Away was my first one. And I think I dragged my mom to that in theater and she just hated it. She was not a fan.
It is an interesting thing to get into. I think you kind of have to know at least about the universe that these kind of exist in. I'm
kind of glad I'm watching them now as an adult. You know what I mean? Because I did watch the first, Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. So there were some things that I missed and didn't quite pay attention to.
Yeah, rewatching some of these things. We were watching House Moving Castle the other night. And it's just like rewatching these pieces and you start to really notice the detail and you hear some of the voice acting, some of the things that you didn't catch the first time, and just all of that is super, super interesting to see, to rewatch as an adult than to watch as a kid. I don't think I would have gotten it as a kid.
No, I would have. Just a lot of it would have just skimmed by.
I think
Harry Potter was my favorite thing as a kid.
Aw. Did you rewatch it as an adult and go, oh, there's that thing?
Yeah.
Me too. What about album? What was your recommended album?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's hard because you just said that music of all kinds is.
Yeah. Well, my favorite artist is kind of controversial, so I don't.
You say whatever you want to say and I'll put it in.
I would say God's Favorite Customer by Father John Misty.
Why is that?
Because that's my favorite singer, songwriter
Awesome.
of all
Okay.
time, probably. And that's his latest album. And that's kind of a more mature album. And it's
Very
just
cool.
he basically trapped himself in a hotel room to
Oh,
write
wow.
that album.
Yeah.
And you can really hear it. It made him go a little crazy, and it's an interesting album to listen to.
That does sound
You
really
know
interesting.
how the trend right now is Bo Burnham. A lot of people really like Bo Burnham.
And how he just locked himself inside to create his art.
The meme, I'm in a Father John Misty fan group on Facebook, and I actually make a piece for them every year
Cool.
because they do a Secret Santa. So I just make a painting, and so I love that group a lot. And anyway, the meme for that is that Bo Burnham is the new Father John Misty, or like the downgraded version of Father John Misty.
Sorry, Bo. You gotta play second fiddle to Father John. All right. If you could bring back one artist from history, who would it be?
Is that like an artist like us, or is that a musician artist? Or...
Honestly, well, I was contemplating it being a visual artist, but really it's any, if you feel compelled to say a musical artist, that's fine too. I'll open it up to everything.
Well, I mean, I think Bob Ross, probably.
Oh, yes.
He
Bob
makes
Ross
people happy.
And every squirrel and or raccoon he's ever befriended.
And I think it would make him happy to see how many people love him very much, especially now, all these years later. How many people just watch his videos and just chill.
He taught us not only how to paint, but how to like love wall painting, love the process, love the painting, love the thing that you're painting, love the people that you're painting for. I didn't think there was like a angry bone in his body.
Nope. And then you find out his background is a military general.
And he used to yell at people in the military. He's like, I'm done. Way to go, Bob Ross. I don't think I could ever be done yelling at people. So it's very Zen master.
He zenned out completely. Painting was his escape.
That's so cool. Man, what a cool guy. Yes, I absolutely second it. I would also help to bring back Bob Ross. However we could do that, I would do that.
Yeah.
And then our final question, I've been asking every artist this because I genuinely am interested in it, but I'm also thinking, I don't know if anybody else has ever like brought it up to you, is your art an escape from the world, or is it your bridge to the world whenever you're creating?
It's definitely an escape. I would say my bridge to the world is probably the internet.
Yeah.
And so like I haven't been able to paint in a while, and I'm definitely feeling it. So it's like it's a relaxing thing. And before, painting wasn't the relaxing part, it was the line art and the detail. And now it's kind of progressed to the painting part.
That's interesting.
And yeah, it's different now. And it's just it's a time where I can put my music on and just listen to my music and just go to town on some art.
Aw, well, I love that. Yeah, I have to agree. I know sometimes, you know, you want to be able to reach out to the world and show your art. And I feel like that's in the process of, or after the process is done, but doing it is for you, and then you make it for other people. That's how I think. All right, that's all the questions we have for you, but I wanted to give you an opportunity. We have been, you know, in our previous interviews talking to the artists saying, if you have a social cause that you want to call out at this point, we want to be able to put it up on the screen. So if you have any causes that you are championing these days, or anything that you want to like shout out, like, you know, go and help cats.
Well, yeah. I mean, help animals, be kind to animals, I guess. I don't know. Animals are the best part of this world, so.
I love it. Well, we will put up, we'll talk a little bit, and we'll put up some different links and stuff like that down in the description. And just everybody help out your fellow four-legged creature.
Yeah.
Because they all have 4 legs. Yeah, that's all animals. Most animals.
Most animals.
They don't have to have 4 legs. Just help them out. Be a kind soul and help out your animal brethren. All right, Savanah, thank you so much again for sitting down and talking with us. We definitely appreciate it. And we will be throwing this up on the internet soon. We'll put all the links down. So you'll see Savanah's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook links, all of the social medias that she has. And you'll be able to go and check out her artwork. And we also have some stuff featured up on Radnaut Prints. So you'll see all of that as well. Thank you again so much for hanging out with us today. We definitely appreciate all of your time.
Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you.
Yay. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.